What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and as always, thank you for clicking on this video. Once again, I am not on camera because if you see my last couple of videos, I was sick earlier this week. Started off with a stomach flu and then ended up losing my voice. As you can tell, I barely got it back. I sound congested, but I don't have the energy or the looks right now to be on camera. I've just been resting, getting loaded on medicine, but I think I have just enough energy to just speak into the mic here. So if you guys would just bear with me for this review, I would highly appreciate it. So let's get into Space Jam: A New Legacy. Alright, since we are finishing up the opening weekend, I will get into some spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, you have been warned. I will talk about a few things, not all of them, but just a few things. So spoiler alert. So Space Jam: A New Legacy is starring LeBron James. Him and his son get sucked into this digital world by an artificial intelligence being called Algae Rhythm.
I thought my jokes were bad.
And in order to get out, he must play a basketball game against this artificial intelligence in order to free himself and his son. So let's go ahead and start with things that were positives for me. Visually, it is better. I mean, we're in 2021. The original came out in the 90s. So the special effects are obviously improved. They are so much better. The color grading is amazing. I think the Looney Tunes look great, both 2D and in 3D. I do like the fact that they have LeBron both in 2D form. I think they did a good job in making him into his cartoon form. That's definitely an improvement for me, because if you are going to deal with being in this Looney Tune world, then it makes sense for this human being to be also in a cartoon form. And I gotta give it up for Bron. I mean, he's not an actor. Both him and Michael are not actors, but comparing them to LeBron actually wasn't bad. I mean, I know he's trying. He's not an actor. He's not an Oscar-worthy actor, but I will say that he does act better than Jordan. I just give him credit because doing a movie like this, like Space Jam, he has to communicate with characters that are not there, that are just added on after. So he's pretty much talking to himself. So I would say he did a much better job than Michael Jordan. Also, this movie does have a family dynamic element coming into place in the plot of the story. Now, for me, it's both a good thing because it's something that both kids and the parents can relate to, but at the same time, it's a bad thing because it takes away from the focus of the Looney Tunes. And I'll explain more as I get into the cons, the negative things of this movie. Alright, so let's get into the negative things. This movie is literally 2 hours long. It's just 5 minutes shy away from that. I think this movie could have been a little bit shorter, and a large majority of those 2 hours is the basketball game. The second half of this movie is just the game itself. The whole basketball game is what stretches this movie this whole time, and it's very distracting also because when it comes to the basketball game, the crowd are not only humans, but it's also all the characters, all these Warner Brother properties that you've all known of. They all get called to watch the game. You see everybody from King Kong, The Mask, Batman characters, Game of Thrones, the Flintstones, all these properties that we've known throughout the ages, throughout the years. They're all just there, and it's just, this whole movie is just a giant Easter game hunt. The reason why it makes the story look so lazy is because once Bron is in Toon World or Looney Tunes World, and he meets with Bugs Bunny, and he tells him that he needs to recruit players, and Bugs helps him recruit the rest of the Looney Tunes because Bugs has been lonely his whole life for a really long time. And after all the recruiting is done, it kind of just happens, and then it immediately just jumps into the basketball game with no conflict at all, no challenges. The fact that Bugs was alone and the Looney Tunes were not together for a really long time was a missed opportunity to just show them how they have that lack of teamwork because they haven't been together in a really long time. It could have been a chance to focus more on the Tunes. LeBron could have showed them how to work together. Then again, LeBron showing people how to work as a team, that would be kind of weird, wouldn't it? But again, it would have focused some more time on the Tunes and less time on this stretched out basketball game that was almost an hour. And it would only make even more sense because LeBron was trying to tell them how to play basketball his way, because the lesson learned at the end end was that his way wasn't working. People are not always going to be like him. The only way to win the basketball game was to be Looney, was to be who the Toons are to be and not how LeBron is, which in turn also made him learn a life lesson with his son. His son can't just be who he wants him to be. He has to choose his own way, his own path. So it would have only made the movie better. It only would have made the execution better, in my opinion. It would have brought more balance to all the characters, both human and cartoons. But the fact that they chose to go the route that they did just made it seem more like they're just focusing more on LeBron and his family instead of the Looney Tunes. But since they didn't go that way, the movie has to fill in all this time for the last hour with this basketball game and a huge CGI fest, which I guess if you're a kid, it doesn't matter. But if you're a kid who doesn't care who LeBron is or nonetheless basketball or any sport, they just want to see cartoons, they just want to be there for the Looney Tunes, then you're gonna lose. The movie's risking losing that target audience. I think that's another reason why the original in that way is much more successful, because it was straight to the point. The problem had to deal with the Looney Tunes. It wasn't so much about Jordan or anything having to do with his family. The resolution was more of the Looney Tunes being saved and their world being saved, them themselves not being enslaved by the monsters. In other words, the story, the conflict, and the resolution all revolved around the Looney Tunes. It all had to do with the Looney Tunes and not so much of Michael's life. But in the end, I will say that Space Jam: A New Legacy, I'm gonna have to give it a VOD rating on this one. That middle second act just brought it down for me, and I just don't think it had the success that I was expecting it to be. But I want to know from you guys your thoughts and opinions on a Space Jam: A New Legacy. If you've seen it, go ahead and drop your opinions, your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash that like button. If you made it to the end, then I highly appreciate you for sticking with me, for bearing with me. Hit that subscribe button, share this video, like it, show your support, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time.